how God has helped me with my self-improvement. I am not a religious individual. I didn't grow up religious. I wasn't brought up believing in God. I wasn't, that wasn't something that came to my mind when it came to my life. Self-improvement was my religion. Self-improvement and bettering myself and becoming the best version of myself was my version of reality, was my belief system. I thought that being in control of the majority of my variables was the best thing for me, and putting myself in the best positions possible was the best case scenario. So growing up through my teenage years, everything like that, I used to be an amateur boxer. I had 37 amateur fights at one point when I was about 10 years old up until 15. I was setting big goals to becoming one of the greatest boxers of all time. That's the top of the top, the creme de la creme, you know what I mean? I think that's the saying. I think it's the right saying. It's the top of the goal that I could ever strive for. And I thought, if I aimed for the best, if I aimed for the best that I could ever aim for, why would I aim for anything below that? So as a younger kid, the goal was to become one of the greatest boxers of all time. The desire to get there was giant. I saw Muhammad Ali speaking in front of the camera. I saw him, I am the greatest. I shook the world. The motivational shit right there. When he beat George Foreman and proved the world wrong, when he beat Joe Frazier and proved people wrong, when he beat Sonny Liston, all these people, right? He proved people wrong, and when he spoke on the mic, it was so much fluidity and so precise with what he said, and he said the right things at the right time, which was able to inspire me as a younger kid and be like, I want to be like that. So ideally, as the goal when I was younger, I'm 23 years old right now. When I was younger, it was to become one of the greatest boxers of all time. From about 10 to 15, I was boxing training on and off. And then from 15 to 20 years old, I was competing in amateur boxing matches. And I had about 37 fights. Yes, I've already said that. And I lost more than I won. So I had 17 wins and 20 losses on my record as an amateur boxer in New Zealand. And going through all of that's built me in the character I am today and the person I am today, with the beliefs I have, the worldviews I have. It's built me into a way more disciplined, way more focused, way more confident Eden than I was, maybe even prior to doing boxing. So it built me. It was perfect. The journey was perfect. I may have lost a lot. I may have changed goals as I'll get to in this point and all that. But the core of who I am have always stayed the same. I've always wanted to inspire people with my words. I've always wanted to be that person in front of the camera to be like, yo, this guy's speaking facts, and I relate to him in some sort of way. And I want to be that guy that people can hopefully relate to in some ways, but then also aspire to kind of replicate in other ways too. So that's where that comes from. And to come from that kind of place when I was younger to wanting to become one of the greatest boxers of all time and striving for that. And from 15 to 20, training as hard as I could, learning what hard training is, getting punched in the face, someone trying to hurt you in a boxing ring, whether it's sparring or in a boxing match, me getting dropped with body shots, hurt with headshots, knocked out. What else? Not necessarily knocked out, but I've blacked out from a punch type of thing. You can call it a knockout, but I kind of just took a knee. It wasn't like I got flattened by a headshot. But anyway, the resilience that you build with taking a lot of losses and friction against yourself as a human and constantly getting your beliefs tested all the time is a resilience that can be built only by experience, only by experiencing those things. At a certain point, when I turned 20 years old, I had to decide, okay, so I was losing a bunch of fights. I was getting hit quite a lot in my fights. And the reason being was I've always had to work a full-time job during my training camps and everything. And I do think, and majority of the top amateurs in New Zealand weren't working full-time jobs. All they did was train 2 to 3 times a day, eat the right food, sleep, enough hours during the night, and all they did was dedicate their lives to the sport of boxing as young teenagers or whatever, as the youth. So I was competing against people that all they did was train. So at the end of the day, when it came to my fights, I would gas out midway through the fight because I wasn't able to give 100% during my training camps to be able to perform at the highest that I could. And that's no excuse, that's just what it was. So I had to decide, instead of disrespecting the sport, and because I was mature and wise enough to be able to be like, yo, this is not a sport to be messing around. It's not a sport where you can half-ass it. And I did half-ass it a lot of the times in my fights. You want to fight? Yes. You want to fight? Yes. I was a yes man. I said yes to all the fights that I was offered. I've taken a fight on 4 or 5 hours notice. I've, taken a fight on weeks notice, on a couple of days notice. I was a yes man. I'm a fighter. That's just what I am. I don't step people out. I don't think I'm a tough guy or anything. But I had been fighting in a metaphorical sense, in a physical sense, in in every single sense that you can think of. I had been fighting ever since I was born. Anyway, yeah. So fast forward, and now that I've stopped my boxing and everything, and it's helped me with this journey here, and I'm pursuing the content creation journey, because I believe that if I can make it big and here, that it'll help out my future way more than, you know, trying to make it to the top in boxing and not being able to work a full-time job, because I had to dedicate all that time to training and fighting. So yeah, I had to redirect my goal and my life goals, and now I want to be a leader. I want to be an example. This is who I am. I've improved myself and made sacrifices ever since I was 13, 12 years old. You know, ever since I was a little kid, I've always thought about the bigger picture and thought about, okay, what can I do to increase my chances, increase my luck in anything, really. When I was younger, I decided to never drink alcohol ever, and never do drugs ever, and that was me increasing my chances in whatever I decided to do at any point. So I've always been quite lucky, and I would like to contribute that to, obviously, one, the circumstances and the people I had around me, but then two, the fact that I was able to make the right choices at the right time. Not even the right time, just the right choices. I went through the same shit that everyone else went through. I just picked a different side. I picked to stay clean. I picked to stay mature and wise and clear-headed majority of my life. Being able to reflect on myself, know what I want, know who I am, know what I desire to get to, is some of the most best decisions that I ever made. So coming to the title of the video now, after all that ranting, how God helped me with my self-improvement. Now, before, as I said, self-improvement was my religion. So after boxing, I even during boxing, when I was training and stuff, I was, you know, you get in that mode of being disciplined and trying to be the best self and everything like that. I started to read when I was 18, I think, around there. I sold my my gaming console when I was 18 as well. I started to watch YouTube videos from a guy called Hamza, and he was the introduction to self-improvement when it came to, you know, young men getting onto that and bettering themselves. And he talked about things like, you know, us becoming fathers one day, us having our own children, and being able to attract our future wife, the beautiful feminine wife that we desire to get to. There's men out there that desire to get those things, and that's 100% fine. There's guys out there that don't want those things, and it's 100% fine. I've got nothing against that at all. For the people that desire those things, these videos are for you, because maybe I can become relatable in some way. But I came across self-improvement videos. I started to implement some of the things I was taught in those videos, and I noticed the benefits after a few months. You know, the benefits of reading after a few months. Just started with an easy book, went to a harder one, went to a harder one, went to a harder one, and that's a concept called progressive overload, which you will learn in the gym when you are lifting heavier and heavier weights and trying to build your muscle and trying to train hard. So it's the same thing with the gym. I started working out in the gym after competing in a fighting sport for a long time, and you know, the gym was easy peasy compared to competing in a martial art or a fighting sport. So progressing onwards, my realization as of the past, I'm 23 years old now, in the past four months really, I've actually come to the understanding that within the concept of God, which is however you want to believe about it really, in my belief of God, of what helps me and what is a positive impact for me really, is believing that God is a father figure of some sort. And God being the father figure that I believe that he is, I think that when I look at my life and see the challenges that I come across, or see the things that I have to overcome, I see God as the concept that orchestrates these challenges and puts me in place in the perfect scenarios. And your relationship with yourself, and then I feel like is in correlation to also your relationship with God. There's this whole other thing as well. So it's a pretty broad concept to explain in one video. But I feel like everything that I've ever had in my life, everything that I've ever believed in my life is God, because God is everything. And also God is inside of everybody, and then also helps us understand that we have more control over our realities than we think. We have the manifestations that we can create. We have the reflections on ourselves, what we think, what we see in the mirror, our perspectives, what we're grateful for, everything what we want to aim towards, what we see in our future, blah, 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 our visions, what we desire to get to, everything like that. That's in the concept God. God is everything. God is, this isn't me talking, this isn't me wanting to pursue these videos, this is God. So God's kind of taking, when you think that someone's watching over you, and this is why I think this is beneficial for my self-improvement, and may be beneficial for you if you think about it this way, is that if I think that God is here to kind of teach you lessons, trying to guide you in the direction that you yourself, because we have free will, desire to get to. So I desire to get to a positive pinnacle in my life, right? Where I am fulfilled, where I'm wealthy, mentally, physically, financially, and in as many areas as I can, that's ideally the optimal level that I want to get to. And I have that connection with myself, right? And I think there's something called the Holy Spirit or something. So I'm not even educated in religion, but let's say, okay, I'm just going to assume it's the Holy Spirit. You have that connection with yourself and everything like that. And that connection with yourself also, God knows that as well. So he goes, yes, he sees me. He goes, Eden, I like your endeavors. I like your desires. I like your goals. We're going to make sure we put you in the right positions possible to be able to execute those things. And now it's completely up to me, because my free will, to see those opportunities and put my best foot forward, to try my absolute best, to try my hardest, to work hard, to say the right things, to be 100% myself, and to keep going despite it getting hard, or despite people saying that I shouldn't do this or that, or despite the haters coming along and saying that, you know, blah, 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 whatever the thing may be, is that I got God on my side, because I know for a fact that I'm genuine. I know for a fact that I'm aiming to a place that is gonna, it's me, it's not a facade. And when I understand that God is here to look over me and point me in that direction, I'm gonna do the rest. God will put me in the best positions possible, and I'll do the rest. Trust me. You put me in a room with some of the best self-improvement YouTubers in this world, in any country, some of the best content creators that talk about self-improvement, that talk about the game of life, that talk about anything that I already talk about. I belong in there. I fully have confidence because of the correlation that I have. God, self-improvement, combining and tune with myself, OP combo. Those ingredients, OP, overpowered. No one can beat you if you believe in controlling the controllables and the variables. If you believe in being optimistic and positive and seeing the more positive view on things because you know it's way more beneficial for you. If you believe that there's a father figure other than your actual father, a God, a higher power that is over you, setting challenges, setting goals, seeing if you overcome them to become the best version of yourself in whatever direction that you yourself and your connection with yourself believe that you can get to. You know what I mean? So that's how God has helped me in my self-improvement journey. He has helped me, and he's been there way more than I believe before. I hope this helps you in any way possible. I believe in you, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much.